So good morning again and welcome. And so we are in our 2023 edition, and since after COVID, this has been our third year virtually sharing with you the Caribbean Climate Responsive Agriculture Forum. And my name is Nikelia Gregoire-Karai. I am a technical specialist in soil and water with IICA, and I work with IICA's Agricultural Climate Action and Sustainability Program. And I am from the lovely nature island of Dominica. And it's quite lovely to see persons from around the region. There we have Grenada with us also. And so I think we have the whole English-speaking IICA member states with us. We also have Guyana. And so welcome everybody. And I will just give you a brief intro, and then we will go into the meat of what we are here to discuss and share with you today. And so this forum, the sessions are for you. And so I'm looking forward to you, sharing your experiences, your questions, and so we can have a fruitful discussion today. And so if you could just, with your name, if you could just add the country you're from, just so we can get a pretty good idea of persons around the region. While we're not speaking, if you could mute the mics to avoid, too much disruption. You could turn on your camera if you would like, just for a bit of interaction that we can see each other's face. When you want to speak, when we reach the discussion section, you could raise your hand and we will take it in the order that persons raise their hand. I know persons always ask for the recording. Yes, we will be recording the session and it will be shared with you, as well as the PowerPoints. If we have PowerPoints today from our presenters, those will be shared with you. And also I'll be sharing with you the QR code. You could probably see if it works on that side. You could scan the QR code, and so that you can like, share, and follow the forum's Facebook and Twitter page for future events and updates. And so we will be keeping it pretty simple. And so I'll do the introduction for you today. We will have Ms. Laura MacNeil presenting on the CaribFarm app. We'll have Mr. Richard Rampersaud of IICA Trinidad, who will be presenting on the FARMVUE app. After that, we will go into an open discussion to address questions, feedback, any concerns persons may have, and then we'll have a short wrap-up. And so, I see a lot of you who have been part of our previous sessions, but just for our new participants and to refresh the minds of those of you who were there before, the forum is what we have it as, is a knowledge to action platform where we want to raise awareness as it relates to climate smart agricultural practices, sustainable agricultural practices across the region. We want to also build a community of persons interested within the sector, even persons, not necessarily within the sector, but have some level of interest there at a regional and a national level. As most of you may know, IICA has a local office in all the English-speaking regions, CARICOM countries in the Caribbean, and we also have an office in Haiti. And so with that, we want to help promote and enhance coordinated and collaboration among our stakeholders, the farmers, the private and the public sector. And more importantly for us to kind of build upon that is how we now translate that information we share with you virtually to action, practical action on the ground, how we can implement those actions to help build a more resilient, climate resilient and sustainable agriculture across the region. And so with that, today we have with us Laura, who is the founder of CaribFarm, and Richard, who is an agribusiness and value chain specialist with IICA. And he will also be presenting on the FARMVUE app today. So I will pass on now to Richard to start us off. And so Richard, you can go ahead. Before Richard comes on, I will be sharing on your screen a baseline poll. And so it's pretty short. So it will show on your screen and you just select which response pertains to you. And that will be about it. Thank you. And at the end, I will broadcast a feedback poll as well to get some feedback on how we can, further improve and get a bit of your interest today. Richard, go ahead. You could see your full screen.
Thanks a lot, Nikelia. And good morning to all the participants here logged on. I'm just trying to get my screen. Is my screen showing?
Your screen is showing, but not your poll.
Okay. Let me try again one more time. Hi, Nikelia, is my screen
Yes, it's showing. You could go in full screen now.
Excellent. Okay, so good morning again. My name, as Nikelia would have said, is Richard Rampersaud. I'm the agribusiness technician here at the IICA office based in Trinidad and Tobago. And we're going to speak today about the FARMVUE app. So many of you, or some of you, may know of the FARMVUE app, especially if you're based in Trinidad and Tobago. The app has been developed and was developed specifically for Trinidad and Tobago, and I'll go into a little bit in terms of why. It is not that we are biased to the Caribbean, it's just that the testing phase and the direct need came out from an opportunity / challenge that we had in Trinidad and Tobago, but we do have plans to replicate it in the wider Caribbean. So I know I'm just putting that out because I don't want you to come and bash me in the end on why it is we didn't have it in Jamaica or Barbados or Grenada, etc. So just putting that out there, that disclaimer. All right, so I'm gonna be try to keep it very concise because I really want to hear a lot of questions and feedback from you after. So the format for the presentation will take this. Why was the app developed? What is the value and benefit to farmers? What are some of the features of the app? How can you access the app? What are the future plans for the app? Who can access information from the app? How to get more adoption of the app? And what are some of the farmers who are using the app saying about the app? So why was the app developed? Now, before COVID, in 2019, we were working and partnering with the Cropper Foundation, the TCF, and NAMDEFCO to assist the Cropper Foundation on a specific project called Making Agriculture Profitable and Sustainable, called the acronym is MAPS. So the Cropper Foundation MAPS project were dealing with a grow safe program. How do we enable farmers to grow safely on their farm? So the relevant training were done with farmers and processors to train them in how to grow food safely using GAP, using principles of HACCP and principles of good manufacturing practices. And coming out of that, in that project, we were actually trying to...
Sorry, Richard.
Yes?
Some persons are I could hear you clearly, but some persons are saying that they cannot hear you too clearly. Probably try and move a bit closer to your mic.
Okay,
Thanks.
No problem. I will try my best. Is it better now? Is it something that you're hearing me better now?
I am hearing you clearly. Are you all hearing better now?
No.
No.
No, unfortunately.
No, he's very low.
I'm very low. Oh, wow.
I'm
hearing
hearing
clearly.
So I don't know if it's something on your
I am
end.
hearing very clearly.
I am hearing very clearly also.
I am not.
Could you all check your volume on your mic, or do you all have a headphone you all could use?
Richard, maybe you raise the volume on your
Raise your
Just reporting that I can also hear him quite clearly.
Okay, please, for those that are probably not hearing clearly, if you could use a headphone.
I can hear Nikhil very well and clearly. I can hear you clearly, but the other speaker not. You, I can hear.
Okay, let me just.
Okay, Richard, if you have a headphone, try a headphone.
Okay, I will try. Is this better? I just changed my mic. Is this mic better for those who are not hearing me clearly?
No.
Still no.
I am hearing very clearly. So some persons are saying not better.
I hear Nikhil very clearly, but the speaker not.
Nikhil, he's being heard, but they have to listen very keenly. It's a bit soft. I don't know if it's his mic. That's
well, I am not hearing it soft. I'm hearing him actually very loud. Some
Okay,
persons are saying they are hearing clearly.
Yeah,
Richard, if
many
you probably
clearly
have a
and loudly.
headphone.
So,
So,
Nikita,
I don't know.
just give me a second. Let me just see
Okay.
if I can get a headset with a mic.
Okay.
Thank you very much. I'm just gonna pause for 2 minutes just to locate one quickly. Thank you.
Apologies, everyone. We will just try to get this rectified as quickly as we can.
The most important thing on this farm is the soil.
I have been here since the start of time, and I have always been the foundation for all living things.
If your soil is dead and have no nutrients, which means your crop would not come good, you need to have a healthy soil.
I am alive. I am home for billions of organisms. I give life.
Soil basically holds your land together. And in essence, I guess it holds the people together as well. A symbiosis for life, really.
I am suffering and I am vulnerable. If you continue to mistreat me, my health will decline.
So water tends to run off from higher up the slope, and that makes the soil liquid and shift. And that's why you get landslides and erosion. So this is vetiver grass, and it's actually holding the soil in place from slipping.
If you protect me, I will safeguard food security and livelihood for future generations. I am life. Soil is life.
I am soil.
We are alive because we are soil.
Soil gives us all the nutrients that we need to be alive.
It is very alive, just like us. This gives it your magic right here.
For you, for you, for you, for you. The soil will dance for you. For you, for you, for you, for you. The faces are mighty blue. For you, for you, for you, for you. Together we'll get through. For you, for you, for you, for you. The soil will dance for you.
Okay, so I do hope you enjoy that. Richard, are you back with us?
Nikhil, are you hearing me right now?
Are we hearing clearly now?
No difference.
No
Okay.
difference.
The same thing.
Hearing Richard.
I am
What
hearing.
we will, Richard, what we will
your
do in the
volume? Can
meantime,
you check your volume?
Richard,
I
what
am
we'll do in the
hearing
meantime
clearly.
while you try to fix, if we could probably have Laura present, and then we'll take you again.
All right. So I changed the mic again. Is it making any
Are
difference
you
now?
sounding much better?
Much, much better.
Yeah, better now.
Much
This is
better.
much better.
Okay, so then you can go ahead, Richard. It's better now. Thank you.
No problem at all. My apologies for that. So thank you very much. So let me just resume. I will start back all for the benefit of all those who weren't hearing. All right, so everybody's hearing me much better. Yes, good. Sorry about that. These technologies can be so irritating sometimes. All right, so for the benefit of all who wouldn't hear me properly, I'm hoping it is better now. All right, I'm just going to review the format of the presentation. So I was just saying that I'm making a disclaimer from the very beginning that if you are not living in Trinidad and Tobago, or you're not in Trinidad and Tobago at any point in time, you will not be able to access FarmVUE. And it was for a specific reason, and it's not to kill me or shoot me after, but it's going to be available at some point in time. We actually have plans to do upgrades of it and open it to the wider Caribbean. But this case app was developed out of a specific need, which I will go into in a short while. So I was just saying that the format for the first presentation will be, we're going to see why it is that we developed the FarmVUE app, what is the value and benefit to the farmers, what are some of the features of the app, how can you access the app, what are the future plans for the app, who can access information from the app, how to get more adoption, and what are some of the farmers' testimonials about the app. So the TCF, which refers to the Proper Foundation, which is an NGO based here in Trinidad and Tobago, had a project called Making Agriculture Profitable and Sustainable. And IICA and the National Agricultural Marketing and Development Company, the acronym NAMDEVCO, were partners on that project with the Proper Foundation. And it's a Grow Safe project, that was the brand of it. And we were working with farmers to be able to enable them to do their production systems and the way they produce foods in a much safer way, with some mechanisms for monitoring the safety practices over time, which calls to mind the word traceability. So while we were doing that, we realized that on the project, we were looking to see how it is that we could have purchased some of the farmers produced on that project, pay them for a price, and some of the food would have been processed through the NAMDEVCO before it reached the final market on the project, which would have been the Massey store's shelf. So we were looking at Massey to see how they can promote this Grow Safe brand, knowing that there was an assurance that there were monitoring mechanisms, there were training from the farmers, and there was some basic level of traceability from the farm right up to the grocery shelf, that consumers could have been assured that the product was produced using good agricultural practices, good manufacturing practices, and principles of hazard analysis, critical control point. So directly coming out of that, there were some questions that came up in the project. For instance, what price do we offer the farmers to buy the produce at? What was some of the farmers' level of cost of production? How do we know that the price that we offer the farmers will allow them to make a profit? The price needed to be attractive to keep the farmers on the project, so they don't leave the project and go to the open market or the wholesale market and sell their produce, that they were sure that it was competitive and attractive to keep them on the project. And we wanted to know if it is that the farmers were actually complying with the Grow Safe practices, which comes into monitoring and some level of traceability. So as we continued asking those questions, we realized that we did not have a lot of information. We didn't have, in some cases, farmers did not even know what was the unit cost of production or the total cost of production. Some of the farmers did not know if they were making profits. We, as the institutions in NAMDEVCO, the Proper Foundation, the IICA, did not know whether or not the farmers were actually implementing some of the practices. There was no verification. There was no way of using a traceability system to see whether or not they were applying the training and the teachings and the knowledge that they have learned into their production. So we realize that, okay, there is a gap that needs to be filled in terms of basic information. And it is something that will have to be using some digital mechanism that we'll be able, because we are living in times where the digital technology is rapidly increasing and more persons are using it. Even my old uncles who is 78 years old are very big users of Facebook and Instagram right now. So it is something that even the older generation have been latching on to in some degree. So digital tools, we needed to capture also to some level of digital tools in the country, because there was a national committee set up to see what last in the production. So this was done in 2019. This when we realized that we had some gaps in the project, in the MAPS project. And then in 2020, there's the TT GAP, the Trinidad Tobago GAP, Good Agricultural Practices Standard, that was actually developed and came into being a formal national standard. So this reiterated and re-emphasized the need to have some level of a traceability platform so that we'll know if farmers are complying with what the standard is saying. And again, using a digital traceability platform, we said, okay, the app will be able to do something like this. So we went through various iterations for a name, and it was a process. We actually had a formal company that we worked with to come up with the name FARMVUE App. We had several names, but FARMVUE App was the one that, through farmers and consultations, this was the one that came out. So again, we needed to enable the field monitoring officers at the NAMDEFCO, which is the Agricultural Marketing Development Company, to monitor these farmers, right? These MAPS farmers, to verify the information related to what it is that they were trained in terms of the crop safety and the crop production, and whether or not the food has been complying with the good agricultural practices. Also, we needed the platform or the app to be a digital solution for enabling the recording of production and financial record keeping, so that farmers will be able to know at any point in time what are the costs and what it is that they are going to calculate as a unit cost, so that when you get a price per pound in the market or hotelier or supermarket gives you a price per pound, this is what you're paying, you will be able to know based on the information you have put into the app what will be the automated calculated unit cost per pound. So you can see what is your cost of production per pound, match that with your market price per pound, and see whether or not you are making a profit indeed. And again, we needed the app to capture some digital tools in the agri sector so that we will know at any point in time those tools that are being used that helps to form the committee that is established to know what is the digital transformation and the tools that are being used in agriculture. So we have several partners, the Proper Foundation, NAMDEFCO, the IDB lab, which was the funding source of the MAPS project, which this app has been developed under, and the FARMVUE Company Limited, who were the actual app developer, and of course, IICA. Now, we went through a series of scanning the environment for apps in agriculture in the Caribbean and outside of the Caribbean. And we realized that they had about 3 apps developed that were trying to do something very, very similar, but to a lower degree of uptake. One of the challenges was the user friendliness of the app and some of the relevance of the information to put into the app. So based on some of those lessons learned, when we reached out to those institutions and web developers who developed the specific record-keeping apps in the Caribbean specific to agriculture and farming, we took some of the lessons learned and the challenges that they had in developing the FARMVUE so that it does not duplicate any of the efforts that were done, but enhances and be able to add value now to the farmers in a much easy, friendlier way. By no means this app is very static. It is a dynamic app because we are continuously looking for feedback to develop and change and upgrade the app to better suit the needs of the app's client, which is the farmers and processors. So what are some of the benefits of the app? It helps to digitally record and store farm production, and it does so 24/7. So farmers have access to this information at any point in time. If you wake up 12 o'clock any night, you have access to it. If you're on the field 6 o'clock in the morning, you have access to it. If you go to the bank and they want some record information, you have it right there with you. So no worries. It is stored in a cloud and it is protected, right? It has traceability. It can trace crops through all stages of production. It has feature for your actual location, for pinning your actual location on a map, and right up to a process where you actually pay for production inputs. And when the consumer or your final person buys the app, you can record that. You can record workers. So everything, who sprayed the crops, everything in that from start to finish, input supplies, from the land and the site and location, right up to those when you hand over the final goods to your final consumer. No Wi-Fi on your farm, no problem. The app allows that you can put in information at any point in time where you don't have Wi-Fi, and as soon as you reach home or you reach a spot where you have hotspot or Wi-Fi, it will automatically upload to the cloud. So no worries with no Wi-Fi on the farm. You can print reports in a PDF format or a printable format, which is more or less the PDF what I'm speaking about. All the reports can be printed from your production reports, production over a period of time, production specific to a crop, or production specific to your cost of production. Any report that you have as reports on the app could be printed. Again, because you have so much information in terms of what your usage, your pesticide usage, or your cost of production, or your markets, or your profitability, your unit cost, you have information now as a farmer to make better decisions to improve your farm efficiency. So the app enables you to provide that platform for decision making based on the information that you have. In Trinidad Tobago, the Agricultural Development Bank has a cost of production profile. The app was designed along that cost of production profile. So it's already in keeping in line with the institution, the development bank template. It can generate invoices for supplier payments. So if you go to Massey stores and they said, okay, for us for payment, you need an invoice, the app has a feature where you can generate an invoice. Again, it tracks the fertilizer and pesticide usage per crop and over a specific period of time. And those reports, again, could be printed. It could track input cost, right? It can track your customers. So when it is that let's say you have every customer that you hand over your product to, remember it's a traceability app. So traceability starts with on the farm. Food safety starts on the farm. So traceability starts on the farm right up to the consumer where you hand over the goods. So you can track your final customers and you'll be able to track your farm workers. Again, farm workers are important for traceability and for accounting in terms of profit. So you will be able to know which worker would have sprayed or fertilized or conducted any activity, washing, post-harvest washing, post-harvest sanitation, any packing. You can track at every stage the persons who would have done that work on a specific day, on a specific batch that they would have harvested, etc. So the app is very dynamic, very thorough, very detailed to capture this information. Again, one of the main features and the good features is that it automatically calculates a unit cost of production. So if it is per pound or per kilogram or per kg, once you put in all the global information, the big data in terms of you buy a liter of pesticide or you buy a 100-pound bag of fertilizer, you'll be able to enter that information in. You'll be able to state how much and your rates. It will calculate automatically from that information how much will actually use at that point in time to spray your crops, and then you will work out a unit cost as you go along. We also, because it is that we want to be able to verify or validate some of the information in the app for monitoring, we have a feature where you cannot, as a farmer, enter more than 3 attempts of a particular section. So after 3 attempts, you might want to change the data. It's an error, fine. But if you want to manipulate the data for just to say that you want to get by the monitoring process to the field officer come by you, all right, we're not allowing no unscrupulous information data entry. So you have 3 chances for genuine errors, and then it will block you out automatically. You have to come to the admin to ask for a re-entry approval. The app has a feature to collect information and feedback for improvement, which is very important, and we will encourage all farmers and users to give us information. And in case of any difficulties in accessing the app or training or using the app, you have technical support through our email, okay? And simplicity was the main key in developing this app, and user friendliness for farmers. So a lot of drop-down menus are available in terms of selecting crops, selecting varieties, the types of pesticides used, etc. Drop-down menus. Now these have to be updated because it's a lot of information, a lot of new products coming on the market. We started with a pilot of a few. So that in terms of the crops, I think we had about 25 crops. In terms of some of the fertilizers, we had about 15 main ones, but we have to be able to upgrade and add to that menu. And most of all, it's 100% free. No cost to you to download, no cost to using it. Right now, it's 100% free for farmers. All right. So then what are some of the features of the app, right? We have, let me just, sorry. Right. Okay, some of the features of the app. So these are some of these images for the app. So when you log in, you'll be asked to log in with the email address. When you log in, you see this home page here, the one on your furthest left of the screen. This home page will you will start putting information in terms of your location, where you're located. It's a pin or a map. We're going to do some upgrades to that to make it a little easier also. We are going to add, you could add your crops into it, and then you start with production. You have inventory. Inventory is your fertilizers and your chemicals that you would have been using. Then you have a section for workers. Then you have reports. These are the reports where I say you can download and generate different types of reports, right? Production and financial reports that you can print. Then you have tabs for collecting harvest, post-harvest, packing facility information, buyer and seller information, your production cost, and your digital tools. So you're going to see this in your homepage. And then when it is that you go into added crops now, this is the second screen from your second picture or image from your left. You're going to the production site, you add your crop, you're going from production to harvest, to post-harvest, to buyer and seller, to cost of production, inventory, the person in charge, packing house, provide feedback, log out. And then when you go into the specific ones now, so you want to add a crop, then you're going to from land preparation, transplanting, fertilizer application, fungicide application, right down to when it is that you post-harvest and you sell. So you're going to capture all that information. And this is an example in the planting and transplanting, which is the third image from your left. You add the seedling, where you purchase the seedling, you know, how much you pay for the seedling, if it is slips, if it is cuttings, when you added stakes, how much you pay for the stakes, if you twine to be able to tie it with tomatoes, how much labor you added, etc. And under each one of those tabs for fertilizer, herbicide, insecticide, there's a series of questions. Where did you buy it? How much did you pay for it? Quantity used, quantity you're going to be using in the crop, how much plants you have, etc. So for harvest, which is the last one, image on your right-hand side, there's again, date harvested, the amount that you have harvested, the person who harvested, were there any losses, etc. the whole idea is that every time you start a new crop, you are going to generate automatically a crop ID and a batch number. So it is very unique. So if it is that you're planting a crop of, let's say, corn, and you start the app planting this day on this particular day, the 17th of May, and you open the app and you create a record for it, is it going to automatically have a number for the crop? And when it is that you have your lot size, so your lot of land where it is grown on your farm, you're going to be able to generate a lot number and a batch number. So it is very detailed for especially for traceability mechanisms. There is a little bit of knowledge and training in terms of how it is you can split your or map your field so that you know where the crop came from, so you can map it. Lot number 1, lot number 2, lot number 3, 4, etc., where it has been grown, so that you know when it is that you are recording, this came from lot 2 or this came from lot 4, the same corn. Okay, let me go ahead. So how can I access the app? Well, if you go on to www.farmvue.com, you'll be able to see the two options, whether it be at the Apple App Store or the Android Google Play Store. And if you go into that, you also see 4 mini videos of how you'll be able from start to register for the app, and then walk a series of mini trainings of how to walk through some of the features of the app and how to use it. Now, anything further than that, I will suggest that if it is that you need specific training using the app, we will probably do it at this session. We can do a follow-up session, so it will be good if it is that you can indicate in the feedback form that will be coming at the end of the session, or within the chat feature of this webinar, to your email address, your name, and contact information, so we will be able to have a bit more detail in terms of training of using the app from start to end. So in the Google Play Store, this is the icon for what it looks like, the FarmVUE, where the red arrows are. That is the icon, that is the branding of the FarmVUE. If you'll see from the top slide or the top right-hand side of the slide. So when you see FarmVUE, it's FARMVUE, right? So that is what it looks like in both platforms, in the screens. Okay, so what are some of the limitations of the app? Well, as I indicated, it was a pilot that came out of Trinidad on a specific need about addressing traceability and cost of production issues on a digital tools platform for collecting information. So it was only done in TNT, but we have plans in the future to open it to the wider Caribbean. Right now, it is very crop specific and is only used for crops, not livestock. Again, we have plans to open that for the livestock, large and small ruminants, the bees, the fisheries, etc. Again, the crop lists need to be updated because of the number of crops that we want to add to it. The location map also needs to be updated. So, right, so we know, and there's other updates which we want to do. So these are some of the future updates we want to do for the app, right? We want to update it to include a feature for livestock. We want to also link it in terms for Trinidad Tobago to the NAMDEFCO NAMIS system for price and volumes database. We want to build other cost of production elements. We are very specific for water and water use, for irrigation, for labor for watering, fuel for pumps and other equipment, transport costs being split for wear and tear versus fuel, labor and equipment, utilities, irrigation costs, good installments and repayments. So there's a few. We have been collecting some information from feedback so far. And the main thing is we want to open it to the wider Caribbean, as I mentioned before. So your feedback is very important. I urge you to provide feedback. Once you log in, provide feedback. Who can access information from the app? Currently, right now, it will be the farmers who have the app and they're registered and they're using the app, IICA, NAMDEFCO, and the Cropper Foundation. we have access to backend information of the app. We have a private policy on the app that says, among other things, if it is that we are going to use any information from the farmer for any decision making or any planning purposes as a sector, as an agricultural sector, we must get written permission from that farmer. So that still stays, it has not changed. So the information is private, it is discreet, and they have actions if it is that farmers' information are outside there and they have not given approval, there are legal consequences for that. So we have internally on the databases, the ICT persons have all the security checks to make sure that it is still cyber proof and cyber secure from hackers and other persons who may be attempting. And they are doing their maintenance work all routinely to make sure that it is always updated and it is secure. In terms of the back-end information, so we will be seeing the information that farmers put in, and we will be able to know if it is that, for instance, they are making a profit, whether or not it is that they are complying with some of the practices. Now, for the NAMDEFCO monitoring officers team, this information is very important. So that when they go into the field, they can use the app, put it up on there, and check to see whether or not the farmers have been entering the information, and they actually physically can verify that information on the field when they go. From IICA point of view, it's more for sectoral information, more for it to see whether or not we need any changes in our policy direction, any changes for improving the incentive packages, any instances where we can go to the Agricultural Development Bank for specific loan packages based on some of the farmers' needs. Information like that will be very interesting. And of course, Ministry of Agriculture, they don't have current access to it, but if it is that they ask for information again, we have access to information. We have to write formally to the farmers to access information before we can provide any information or even make a decision or provide policy plans or so on for the sector based on this information. It has to be written and it is being enforced and endorsed. So how could we get some more adoption? I think the app right now, we have a little over 225 registered users on the app. We want to make it widespread, and this is in Trinidad of over 3,500 farmers. So adoption, again, has been slow, but it needs a lot more promotion and awareness and sensitization that this platform exists. It is something that can be used. It is something that we have to have more promotions and campaigns to get you the message out there of this app. Some more advocacy and word of mouth among farming community members. We want to do some more trainings with the farmers. It is a tool for compliance. If it is that we say, okay, unless you are using the FarmVUE app, you will not enter the market. So it's something as a long-term decision-making process, but it's an idea that we have, right? That will allow entry to market using the app. So, in other words, if you're complying with good food safety practices and the monitoring officers at the NAMDEFCO are saying this guy is doing good, you'll come into the market to sell. It's just an idea. It's not enforced, but it's something that we are looking at because the TT gap is voluntary right now and it is not mandatory, a standard. We can do certain things. And we want to be able to use work with the Ministry of Agriculture and some of the agri organizations promoting the app. In Trinidad Tobago, the Ministry of Agriculture, the Extension Training and Services, Information Services Division, have plans or have plans to have the app as part of their training program with farmers among some other digital platforms. So this is another way we can, get some more adoption and use out of it. This is just some ideas, some promotion campaigns we can do for the app, so we'll see. And then what are some of the farmers saying about the app? Well, so far, it has been positive reviews, and we have, as I said, a lot of feedback in terms of adding some features. So there's some people saying it's extremely useful. They're saying that it helps in knowing what is the cost of production to make better decisions. It helps in tracking where the produce comes from on each plot, which is a good feature. Some farmers saying, I like how it calculates the unit costs, which is beneficial to me to know if I'm making a profit. A lot of farmer says, I find the FARMVUE app most useful in the management of my crops, specifically in the record keeping of my inputs and the respective record for harvest. It gives me a good oversight of my margins and management. The biggest asset to me is that I can use it on my phone rather than a notebook, which tends to get soil and wet in the field. And we all know about that. That's one of the main challenges in farmers keeping record. You know, it's a notebook, the pages tend to, never mind, yeah, it's a very good system. I'm not bashing the system at all. It's a very good traditional system. But information could get lost, could be misplaced, pages could get torn, it could, you know, fly away, etc. But just a way of keeping it in one space. And I mean, a lot of farmers have phones, some have smartphones. So it's a nice platform to use and to become a little more tech savvy in a nice, easy, meaningful way. So I'm going to stop here. Thank you very much for listening, and I look forward to all your questions, and hopefully I'll be able to address all. Thank you very much. And again, apologies for the technical difficulties. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Richard. We do have a lot of questions already. However, what we will do, we will have Laura present. And so if we could stick to the time limit, Laura, so we could get in the questions and have the answers. And so Laura is the founder of CaribFarm. And so she will be presenting to us today on the Caribbean, on the community app. Sorry. Laura, go ahead. Thank you.
Hi everyone. Hi, Nikelia and Trini, and thank you very much for the opportunity to talk to all of these wonderful people here. Just give me an opportunity to share my screen. I too have been having some technical issues this morning. It's great. Technology is awesome until it isn't. Anyways, let me get to it. Thanks. Okay, so can you all see my screen?
Yes, you can go ahead. It's in full screen.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, so I'm here to talk about our social enterprise, which is a web app we're currently beta testing. And as you all know, farming is changing every day. And with all the changes come all kinds of new challenges. You know, as things change, pest pressure becomes more of an issue. We have droughts that are drier than usual. When it rains, sometimes we're dealing with landslides and other problems with the crops. And now we also have issues with supplies, consistent supplies, reliable supplies, especially right now with fertilizer and things like that. So as farmers, you're all aware of the challenges and face these challenges every day. Yeah, and climate change is one of the big ones. You know, a lot of things are what going on now is that all of the tried and true measures that worked in the past, now maybe not. Maybe sometimes they work and other times they don't. And so everywhere we're hearing, oh, but we need to do climate adaptation. We need climate mitigation and all of these various, you know, different things. There's permaculture, there's regenerative agriculture, there's organic, there's this and all these, there's just so much information. I get it. So what we're trying to do is the idea is to bring together climate smart farming information with mobile technology. Most, as Richard was saying, most farmers have a phone. And so to be able to access information through your phone easily and readily, that I think that helps take us, at least provide some information. So CaribFarm is all about redefining Caribbean agriculture through community. So we're building a community for farmers, by farmers. And so a little bit about our vision is that we're a digital knowledge sharing platform. And our goal is to provide free, yes, free, and readily accessible information. We're piloting in the Caribbean. And so this free digital farmers network will support hopefully positive impact in small scale farmers' lives. So the idea is to create a community, because communities can actually be the foundation of innovation. And we want to be able to provide a place for farmers to connect. Oh, sorry, I just heard something. And oh, because I think it's Maxine. And so we are hope the idea is to be able to foster trust where farmers can connect with each other, share answers and share their questions, and basically connect. And so we're all about the digitalization of sharing knowledge. And so we want to raise attention and bring information around climate change and provide farmers on the network with more information around climate smart adaptation. These things happen, it's okay. And so, so here's our mission, right? So our idea is to empower small scale farmers. And to do that with information, and to hopefully lead the way in agriculture transformation, and that's digital transformation. And so, as everybody knows, food security is a huge issue, especially since after COVID. We're all aware of what happens when we're challenged with different situations. But even without COVID, we have issues to deal with. So this is to give farmers an opportunity to make their own decisions and to talk to one another. You know, the Caribbean islands are separated by vast oceans, as you all know, right? And so it's nice to be able to connect regardless of where your neighbor might be. And so my story, if you'd see me here in the middle of this whole big group, this was at the Green Tech Boot Camp back in 2018 in Grenada. And I was a farm manager, small scale farm, more of a market garden, I think. And so it was through doing that market gardening, and that's really loud. Okay. That, forgive me, I'm just getting a lot of noise. So it was through as a manager of our market garden that I learned firsthand about the challenges that farmers were facing. My neighbors, you know, I chatted with them and discovered that the challenges that I was facing around finding information and getting access to our extension officers and reliable inputs, whether it be seeds or what have you, that everybody was facing these same challenges. I wonder if we can ask someone to turn off their microphone. It's, yeah, it's causing a lot of echo. Thank you. There's one more person I think who has a mic on. Yeah, it's just really echo in my ear. Thank you. So yeah, this is kind of where we got started. And I also have studied digital media management, just finished a postgrad a few years ago, where I was able to take the CaribFarm idea into the venture lab and get support from tech leaders to develop it. And that's what I've been working on for the last couple of years. Our idea is to launch in the Caribbean and then take our concept across Africa, through the Caribbean and the Pacific regions. I have partners currently in Nigeria, Malawi, Zimbabwe, Kenya, India, Bangladesh, and the Philippines. Oh, and Central America. So this is a little bit about who's helping us out. We have some amazing collaborators with the University of the West Indies, the University of Guelph in Canada, Climate Innovation Center in Jamaica. And these are some amazing experts that I work with who provide me with support and their expertise. You can see there's a broad range from across the Caribbean, the US, and Canada. So With CaribFarm, what we're doing is we're building a community for farmers by farmers. And that community is called farmer.community. And if you want to go through this with me on your phone, if you're on your phone or whatever, you simply need to type in farmer.community, and that will take you to our landing page where you can sign up if you want to. Anyways, so this is what we're doing. This is a peek inside of what the app looks like. We're beta testing, so that means we're in the hands of a few farmers, and we're releasing it to a few more farmers on a weekly basis. We're growing slowly with intention so that we can be on top of any kind of issues that we're having and be able to answer everybody's questions. We've got a waiting list now of about 100 and so farmers, and we should be launching in the next couple of months, mid 2023. So farmer community, it's all about connection, and connection is important. The more connected we can be, the more we can support each other. The more we can support each other, the more powerful we are. So why join? Well, we're building this community, and you can see we have backing from all kinds of agriculture experts from around the world. And we partner with these amazing universities and research foundations like SABO and Sprout Content, and everything is brought to you free of charge. So our goal is to bring you the access and the information that you need, and to provide a safe community. It's not Facebook. You're not going to get ads in your face. You're not going to be bombarded with other information. The people who are on this network are farmers, and we monitor and make sure that it stays that way. You can ask and answer questions. And this is a little video. Now, sometimes it works on PowerPoint and sometimes it doesn't. So let's just give it a minute. I don't even see the play button. So I might switch windows so I can show you. Hang on a second. So I can show you the video. It's just a little animation. We have this amazing team of volunteers and students who've been working with us for about a year now. And one of the students put together this animated video along with some friends down in the Caribbean who did the voiceover. So just bear with me for 1 second. I'm just going to do a new share on my YouTube channel here. Okay, and then play it. Let me know if you can hear it. Might have to share the audio. Can you hear it? Hang on, I think I need to share the audio as well. 1 second. Share sound, there we go. Okay, let's go. There's a little break from listening to me. There you go.
Taking care of everything on the farm can be really challenging. No matter if you've been farming for years or just starting out, unexpected things can happen. As growers, we know the increasing effects of climate change, and adapting on farm requires fast solutions. When you don't know where to go or who to ask for help, it's easy to get frustrated. Now, FarmerCommunity is here for you. We're a safe digital platform dedicated to bringing farmers together. You can ask and answer questions and learn directly from the experts too. Together we can achieve climate resilience, learn new technologies, and improve yields.
Let's grow a global farmer community for everyone to connect and learn. Farmer community for farmers by farmers.
And there you have it. Okay, let me switch back. Okay. Thank you for your, whoops, what happened to my new share? All right, we're back. So what we look at farmer.community as a community for opportunity, and we understand that farming can be really tough sometimes. And the challenges are becoming even more so, especially around climate change. So our number one goal is to be able to share climate change adaptation information as readily as it is available. And this is why we connect with the experts, and whether they don't need to be in the Caribbean, they can be all around the world, as long as they're dealing with the same kind of issues. So our goal is to get you timely information on that adaptation and to connect you with other information. So here's a little look. So you get access to our free digital library, and I'll give you a little look at that in a moment. It's easy to sign up with your email, and it's, as I said, it's a safe digital community space. And we're a user-centered community, and that means we put you first. So our ideology is that we are led by the farmers. Our goal is to ask questions, to find out what you need. And we've been doing this for the last 3 years through all kinds of research across the Caribbean and globally, to find out what are the farmers' top 3 problems, and then to be able to address those. So we will always be asking and monitoring and finding out what you need and putting your priorities first. This is our goal. We're leading, and the farmers are at the head of the table. And so we're primarily concerned about climate adaptation, but of course there's all kinds of things about pest pressures and you know, crop issues, all of that, animal husbandry. We have some interesting quotes from farmers in Grenada and Trinidad and St. Lucia about why a platform like this is needed by and wanted by the farmers. We're pretty sure that it is. So here, when you get to farmer.community and you click one of the buttons that says join, you'll see this form and it says sign up today, and you'll be one of the first members, and we'll keep you updated as to our progress. We should be launching in July, so it's not far off now. Yeah, and so what I thought we could do now is, I flip again, sorry, is to just take you inside, because when you sign up, you'll go onto the waiting list. And we'll, as I said, keep you updated. But I thought what I could do is just give you a sneak peek inside the app. I can't share the app with you yet, but I can certainly let you know what it looks like, and when you join, what you will be signing on for, okay? So one more moment as I switch again to the app itself. Okay, this should be it. So now bear with me. This is the app. Remember, it's a web app, so it's on your phone, right? So I'm showing it to you now on my desktop. So it's going to look a little bit different. So I hope you can all see it. Can you see my screen? Yeah, we're good. Can you see my screen?
Yes, Laura,
Yes,
all
ma'am.
good. And we just have a few minutes left.
Can you tell me how much timing we have? Thanks, Nicola.
Your time is actually up, but if you could just spend 1 minute and then we close up.
Thank you. And so here we are. This is what the app looks like. You'll see that there's a couple of groups, and it looks like a lot of other social media. You've got, you know, your feed here. This is where you can send messages. Your profile is here. Notifications to let you know if I'm trying to send you a message or say hello. And here's the hamburger menu at the bottom, which will take you to the library. And this is one of the most significant parts, is that we have this huge collection on crops, livestock, protected agriculture, pest management. These are collections that you can read. Then we also have a whole library of agriculture videos. These we get from our partners, trees, corn, soil management, lots of different areas that we're covering. And yeah, so basically just go to farmer.community, sign up when you're ready. You can always email me. I'll drop my email in the chat, and any other information, you can reach out to me directly. Thanks, Nikelia.
Lovely. Thank you very much, Richard, and thank you very much, Laura, for presenting these 2 apps, which have been developed specifically for the region. And we do have quite a number of questions already. And so if persons want to raise their hand, use the raise hand function, and you can also speak. Let us get a bit of this accent across the region, and of course, you know, have this a bit more interactive. In the meantime, I will go with the questions in the chat, and if anybody wants to raise their hand and ask a question, we will also do so. And so I believe this one is for you, Richard. What guarantee has the app to protect the data from hackers or malfunctioning? And if there is a malfunction, will the farmer be able to retrieve his previous information from the app?
Sure, thanks, Nikia. Thanks for the question. Yes, so they have measures in place. So the developers have a secured routine maintenance that they do very routinely, at least once a month is before that. So we have some level of guarantee in terms of the information protection. They have all their cyberproofing and cybersecurity features, the firewalls, the anti-spams, or a whole host that goes with it. So that is one of the main things. And I mean, knocking wood, thank God, we have no troubles to date. The app has been launched since last year, January or February 2022. No issues to date. And in case of any retrieval issues, the information, again, so far it's cloud-based unless something drastically goes wrong with the metadata in the cloud. No issues in terms of retrieval. The information is going to be there. So I know also too, somebody may ask the question whether or not it is that they change the phone and they have to download the app. If it is that when they download the app, the information is going to be lost. No, the information is going to be there. So any changing of phone or re-downloading of the app, once you have logged into your account, you just could use that credentials, log back in, you're going to have full access back to your information that you put in.
Thanks, Richard. And you could stay there as well. I think the first few questions are for you. Who will have access to the app and be able to utilize the aggregated data from this app?
Okay, so as I mentioned, so far it's only farmers. And the farmers will have access to the information, plus the institutions like IICA, us, the Crop Foundation, who was instrumental in developing the app, and also the National Agricultural Marketing and Development Company, NAMDEFCO, because of the using it for monitoring purposes. Again, as I mentioned, we have the privacy policy in place, and it is enforced to make sure that there's no leakage or spillage of the private confidential information of the farmers on the app to the general public. And they have legal implications if that comes based on investigation. But again, nothing wood so far, so good.
All right. Next question, Richard, is it adaptable to aquaponic farms, and can it track things like pH rates, dissolved oxygen, nitrates?
Okay, so no, not right now. It's very specific, only to crops in open field and hydroponics, but not to aquaponics. We don't have it open to aquaponics farmers.
Okay, great. Also,
so something to be considered.
Okay. Is there a limit to the number of crops you can track, and also can it be used for livestock tracking if you do both livestock and crops?
Okay, so far, no livestock, which is something that we are looking at in terms of when we do the second upgrade, but that will be included. So livestock, no. And what was the first part of it?
Is there a limit to the number of crops?
Oh, no limit. There's no limit. You can every month, each crop. If you have 3 crops you're going to plant right now in this month, you have 3 crops. If it is 10 crops you're going to plant, it is 10 crops. There's no limit. As soon as you enter the information, it is stored separately. As I said, each crop has a unique identifier and a unique number to identify the crop. So once you enter that information, you just click back onto that crop when you're going to put in information as your crop progresses in the field. So you use specific crop numbers for that.
So we have Grady with his hands up. You go ahead, Grady.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. Question was answered earlier.
Okay, no problem. Then we'll go to the other questions from the chat. Okay, I see Errol, you have your hand up.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
Just one or two questions.
Does the app capture technical authorization? Because I know for farm certification, the farmer must be authorized for the use of pesticides. Does it capture technical authorization for the use of pesticides? And secondly, I would want to know the capability of information storage. I knew in the banana industry, we had storage capacity for 10 years history of production, sales value. And I just want to know what is your history, your capacity to store historical information on sales and value of sales, both quarterly and yearly, and for how long? Thank you.
There are two good questions. So right now, there's no storage of the technical capability for the farmers on the program. It's something that we could look at doing if it comes up. So you have raised it, so it's something to consider. In terms of the number of storage, I'm trying to get the exact figure. Don't quote me. I'll get the information. I can always pass it on to you. But I know when we brought it up, it depends on how much information that you have. But in terms of the length of time, I know it can go well beyond 10 years storage information. But in terms of there's an individual allocation, almost like an individual allocation based on the number of farmers. And I know from the technical team, as we realize that we are limiting at least 75% of our cloud storage, we have capacity to increase that storage to allow more storage, which will increase the capacity of some of the individual farmer records. But off the cuff, I know it's more than 10 years for sure of data.
Thanks, Richard. We have Jillian. Go ahead.
Yeah, Richard, I was the one who asked a question about aquaponics farms and if you're able to capture information around aquaponics farms. I think you said you don't have any aquaponics farmers, and I'm trying to figure out how can I offer my farm, since I'm an aquaponics farmer, how can I offer my farm as a beta testing area and some feedback and details for you as well? Is that a possibility?
Of course, Julian. Of course, we welcome this type of collaboration with farmers who are willing to test. As a matter of fact, we had 9 test farmers while we were doing some of the initial beta testing before we opened it up to a wider cross section of the public. So yes, so aquaponics again, because it has to do with the livestock capturing information in terms of the fish and the crops. So right now, as I said, very specific only to crops. So what we will have is in terms of hydroponics. So we have a hydroponics on the app, not aquaponics, and it is something that we are looking into, and it is something that I will be definitely be willing. You can probably share your chat in the chat, your contact information to test. We definitely will be glad to have that, and we welcome that for sure, and we appreciate that.
Okay, thank you. Before we take other persons with the hands up, let me just take some from the chat. We have the persons are asking the likelihood of the other countries. Richard would have answered that they are hoping to have it in some of the other countries by this year. And of course, some of that information will be shared via IICA various means and via the IICA offices, but they are hoping for this year. Most of these questions relating to when it will be available to the other countries. Once you update the data, the old files are deleted. Suppose you want to compare the cost of production for one period to the other, how will that be managed in the app?
No, okay. So when any updates or upgrades, it will not affect the existing data that was there. A matter of fact, when it is that we had the app and we had it on the platform and we now develop, we actually push through some other 1 or 2 other new modifications to the app. You know, with technology, you're never 100% sure of anything, but at least the due diligence of making sure there are multiple backup of information that could be retrievable when we do upgrades is a process that the developers are using. So, I mean, I could say at least 99.5% sure that you're not going to lose any information with any upgrades that's going to be there. But at that point, 5% is always a possibility. So we're hoping not. But the steps and measures in place.
Okay, so we'll take one more from the chat and then we'll go to Brendalyn. Sorry.
Good morning, Brendalyn. What I would like to clear up a bit, is there a section in the database that would cater for information on the type of crop, the family name, all the details on that specific crop, how much that was planted, and when they are expected to be harvested? Is there a section that would cater for in the database that would cater for that kind of information? And I heard you mention that it would cater for information on digital tools used in the sector, in the agriculture sector, but what's about manpower tools? That's my two questions. Thank you.
Okay, Brendalyn, that is a very good point. A matter of fact, when we were building the app, we thought it would be wise to have some training material, basic information packages and tech packages on the app to so farmers would be able to get some basic information, which you now mentioned some of it. And, but we didn't want to overload the app with a lot of things. We wanted to make sure that we were capturing the bare necessities of why we created the app, and then see how it is that we can link or merge with other platforms existing for that information. For instance, IICA developed in 3 pilot countries for an Agri-Extension app, which is exactly that platform where they are collecting information on crop specifics for farmers that they can use now at their own leisure to download the information and read in terms of the specific varieties out there, the crop protection practices, the agronomic practices of how to grow, etc., when to harvest, what is the best time for planting, and so on. So we didn't want to load the app with something that is already existing. So that is something that we have to also consider moving forward, but not linking it directly on the app, but looking to see how we can collaborate with other apps and platforms where you can find that information. For instance, the farming community that Laura has just presented is something that if it is a synergy and collaboration, we can actually have that information that link directly with her, where she has a wide database of information for with videos and tech packs and so on. So I think Laura and I will have a conversation where we can have that merger in the future. And also the Agri-Extension app and 1 or 2 other apps that exist, like for instance, Plantex, where you can actually get in terms of plant diagnosis using pictures and images. So they have a lot of room for scope and a lot of room for continued development, but we take those suggestions into consideration for sure. The last one, it is the digital tools. It is very specific because, as I said, it met a need where we needed to find out what are some of the digital tools being used in agriculture. Because it was a government set up national inquiry steering team to find out what are some of the challenges to digital agriculture in Trinidad and Tobago. So it's very specific there. So we wanted to know what our farmers were using and how it is that we could actually know what are some of the challenges. So in terms of actual farm tools, if it is that there's a need for capturing that information, but it has to come out of a direct need. Is this something that that you want to know what tools you have or what tools as an inventory for your tools? That is something you can probably consider. Once it is it is filling a need from the farmer. So I hope that answers your question, Brendalyn.
Yes, thank you very much.
Okay, thanks for the questions. Thanks, Richard. I have placed a link in the chat to the feedback poll. I'm having some challenges accessing the one in Zoom since someone else has logged on to the Zoom. So if you could just take some time now while we wrapping up the question to complete the feedback poll. I am sending it again. You will see it as a Google form. So if you could everyone could just take a time there to fill it out and also to give us an idea whether persons are interested in, learning a bit more, and possibly we have a separate session for those. I will take one. I will have Khadija, you can go ahead.
Hi, good afternoon. Good morning. I have just two questions. The first is with regards to, as most of the Caribbean is in the hurricane belt, with regards to data storage and potential for farmers to want to be compensated post-natural disasters such as hurricanes. Is there a feature for that? I heard there was mention of increasing data storage capability in the FARMVUE app. So that's my first question. And the second question is more of a livestock question. In terms of the technical capacity, because I know we weren't able to look at through the FarmerCommunity App, in terms of the combating antimicrobial resistance, is there any feature for the livestock with regards to farmers being able to enter information on dates and times and what treatments they're using on their livestock? Thanks, thank you.
Okay, so let me, Khadija, thanks for the questions. In terms of the crop losses post-disaster and knowing what are the losses, there is a feature right now or currently on the FarmVUE where it has a section for losses. It doesn't, it does state, however, in terms of what type of losses, it breaks down in terms of various categories, whether it be pre-disaster, whether the losses be due to post-harvest losses, in-field losses, and also to losses to any disasters. So there is information to capture that losses in the FarmVUE. We'll probably we will check to see whether or not we can actually break down the post-disaster part of it, and pest and disease. There's losses to pest and disease that category. So specifically to hurricanes, those will be considered a disaster, but it's not very specific in terms of what disaster, whether it be a flood disaster, hurricane, or any other earthquake, volcanic eruption. But those are things that we can definitely consider in terms of the information.
Thank you. Thanks.
Okay.
Okay,
Sorry.
Errol, go ahead.
Just before Errol goes, Nakalia,
Yes.
the form you sent for us to fill out, it's
Yes,
saying that we need permission.
Yes, I am trying to sort out that permission issue there. Yes, thank you.
Sorry, I just had that second question for Laura about the antimicrobial resistance, in terms of just for farmers being able to add medication or their treatments in the FarmerCommunity App. Is that a feature in that app?
Hi, I'm sorry. Who am I talking to? Oh, Khadija.
Yeah, sorry, that's me.
So tell me your question again. Can you add? Tell me again.
Yeah, well, being a veterinarian, we're now trying to narrow down, and basically my question is with regards to farmers giving treatments to their livestock. So to prevent antimicrobial, increase of antimicrobial resistance, is there any feature in that app for farmers to be able to add that information that the government officers can go ahead and verify?
Absolutely. This is like the kind of like the foundation of the structure is that so much information, as you know, Khadija, is like siloed. Somebody knows this, somebody else knows that. And what we hope to be able to do is to decrease those silos so that when you set up your profile, right, you then have the opportunity to post the information that you have to the community, so that everyone on the community, then you can invite people yourself, right? And then as the community grows, you can set up a group that is, all focused on veterinary, whatever it is that you want to share, whether it's, you're all corn growers or all coconut harvest, whatever it is. And so that's the idea, is that the farmers indicate, like you, or that's what you want. And then we do our best to deliver it. So yes, short answer, yes.
Yeah. Thank you. No, great. Thank you.
You're welcome. And you can reach out to me directly. I put my email in the chat.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Thanks, Khadija.
Lovely, thank you. Errol, go ahead.
Yes. One of the things that was said about the FARMVUE app is that you want to capture your cost of production and whether you're making a profit. The question I would like to ask is, I know that different markets have different quality requirements, and so I want to know if you would capture the premium sales of certain products and then probably the grade 2 sale of certain products, because all of it is coming from the farm, and if we leave out one, then it skews the productivity level of the farm, because we must have a productivity benchmark to know you need to probably produce 2 tons per acre to make profit with that specific crop, as opposed to 1.5. So I think in terms of establishing the benchmark, I would like to know whether the app would capture premium quality production of crops, and if there's a grade 2, if it is also capturing it, so that you can know what is the total productivity yield of the farm and the crop.
Thanks a lot, Errol. Thanks for that question. So currently on the app, when you are doing harvesting and post-harvesting, when you actually put in the information into your production, into your cost of production, I mean, you have 3 categories of produce, where you have small, medium, or large. And that will basically equate to things like probably tomatoes, peppers, etc. Not so much for the leafy crops. So if it is that you're capturing your small, medium, and large, then it is in line already with some kind of premium pricing. So your small will get a certain price, the medium a certain price, the large with a certain price. But to answer your question directly, no, it doesn't capture anything that has a very specific grade A, grade B standard, not right now. And it is, again, as I said, it was specifically in line with the Agricultural Development Bank's cost of production. So your total production goes in, you grade it in terms of what your sales were for small, medium, and large. You put in your cost, your price that you would receive for those, and then you'll be able to generate your profit based on that. In terms of a benchmark, we don't have any benchmark set in the cost of production model, but it's something that could be considered for sure, because I know we have some benchmarks for specific crops here, again, for Trinidad. But again, if you're going to roll out to the Caribbean, you're going to have a lot of more dialogue and so on in terms of what could be like a standard across some of the countries for these things, based again on your crop size, your land size, your varieties, and so on.
Thanks, Richard. So the link is working now. So if persons could just take a minute to complete it, that would be very much appreciated. We have another question in the chat. I believe this one may be for you, Richard. This app seems to be of great potential to increase productivity and reduce many losses across the entire production chain from farm to fork. However, being that many islands in the Caribbean are within the hurricane belt, is there a feature for producers to compute their losses based on previously recorded outputs? As this could be very helpful to seek compensation for actual losses versus estimated losses and reboot their farms and local communities post-natural disasters.
So I think, I believe it's Nedja who just asked that question just now. So I said,
I may have missed it, sorry. I was trying to sort out.
I did answer the question. I said that,
okay, great.
Yes, have a feature to capture losses for sure, and categorized by different things in terms of pre-elasticity, disaster, pest and disease, post-harvest loss, in-field loss, etc. So we have that, but so we can just probably break it down into some very specifics in disaster, and disaggregate that into specific to hurricane, floods, volcanic eruptions like St. Vincent, earthquakes, land slippages, etc. So we can probably disaggregate more, a lot further in terms of the disasters aspect of it. But we do have a feature to capture losses.
Great. Sorry I missed that. I was trying to work in the background as well. But at least we got an additional explanation, which should be good. And so we have one asking, is the app for registered farmers only, and can the app do soil testing or scanning?
So currently the FARMVUE app is not for registered farmers only, it is for all farmers. And no, unfortunately, cannot do any soil testing of this sort. Those are something that you probably you will have to get. I don't know which app can do soil testing, to be honest with you, because those are some things that you will need some specific equipment for. But and I don't know any app right now that tests. You can just look at, you want to take a picture scan and see whether or not you can test your soil health. But with Nikilia might be able to indicate whether or not there are any technology using apps for that. But unfortunately, no. Okay, Laura.
Hi there, everyone. Yeah, this is one of the things that we're going to be addressing first. We have a soil management expert studying PhD, and like these folks here, but we're going to put on, that's one of the first things that we do when we're launched. And so that we'll introduce ways that you can test the soil yourself, things that are really zero cost almost, and then give you a basis to start and then see how much further you need to investigate. Yeah, and we're really looking forward to it. So you can see that as you join up. Yeah, that should be when we launch.
Thanks, Laura. As I am not aware of any app, that would be great if you could just, use your phone and scan the soil, but there are simple tools that you can use, simple cheap tools that you can use, simple soil kits that you can also use. IICA, we have done some training in some of the islands on a simple soil kit that you can use to do some testing on your soil. Even Amazon has some, some really simple, cheap tools to give you an idea. And also, there are always some, observatory. You go on your farm, you do some observations that you can complement those with. But as for an app where you can just use your phone and scan, hopefully we might see that one day. But for me, I don't think it exists yet, at least not yet. But, the future holds many things. And so I think few persons have asked if this is the same company as New Leaf Power, Laura. I saw this question came up a few times.
Thank you. That was a question, I think, for Siobhan Shaw, who's working with Growing to Give and Crop Circle. But I just wanted to reiterate something that Richard said, and great presentation, Richard. I should have said that earlier. And FARMVUE is doing some amazing work. And it's great that you're focused on Trinidad, because it's, to get things right in one area and then be able to expand is the best foundation. And having said that, I wanted to say that, like Richard, we're all about collaboration, and this is how these things work. And so we will be sharing other apps that make sense for the farmers in the region to check out, or at least get connected to. Though there isn't an app, like Nikelia said, there isn't an app that you can take a picture of your soil, but there definitely are apps that you can take pictures of your plants. And so, and that you can then have information about pests and things like that. So we'll do our best to connect you to those folks as well.
Thanks, Laura. And then we have one last question for either of you. For soil testing, would any of the apps have recommended NPK guidelines for specific crops?
So currently, no, FARMVUE does not have the recommended soil information in terms of NPK or pH for it. I think that could be within Laura's community farming app. So I would say no, but I know, again, those are technical things that farmers are asking for, and the linkage between traceability / record keeping apps such as FARMVUE needs to be linked with a repository of technical information, videos, training, do it your own stuff, which is what Laura is doing with the community farming. And also I know the Agri Extension app that I mentioned before hazard information. So it is linking some of the record keeping with what farmers be asking for, and it is very technical information.
Yeah, and if I could just add to that, Richard, because the technical information is so crop specific and zone specific, weather, all of that, how we've done it is we've broken it down by crops, so that rather than looking at various problems, we've say taken corn and then offered various documents of information about what to look for, how to handle fertilization, and all of the rest of it, sort of like from A to Z, based on a crop.
You can attend an award ceremony in your country.
Thanks, Laura. We have Renier's hands up. Renier, go ahead.
Yes, and Nicola, did I heard good that you can use your mobile to scan the soil? If that is the case, it is very great, because to analyze your soil is very costly. And if you can scan the soil, you will get. Thank you.
Thanks, Renier. Someone was asking if there is an app that is doing that, and not to our knowledge. So I said that hopefully in the future, there is a lot of things waiting for us. And so hopefully in the near future, we will have something like that. But at the moment, no, we don't. At least not that I am aware of.
Okay.
Yes, and so just one last time, if I could ask persons who have not completed the feedback form, if you could just do so. And I'm seeing somebody asking, will the information be posted? Yes, we will be posting those on our Facebook and Twitter page. And also I will be sharing the information with you via email. And so for persons who have been, we do have a certificate of participation in store for you for persons who attend all 3 sessions. Some of you would have received last year a certificate of participation last year. And so we will be doing those this year, to honor and appreciate the time that you have taken to be part of our sessions. And so, and we do have few other things in store for persons who participate consistently. And of course, we do have various criteria that you would need to meet. As I would have mentioned in the introduction, one of our key objectives is that we want to translate the knowledge, the information that we are sharing online with you, to translate that to practical action on the ground. And so that is one of the ways we want to further evolve and strengthen the forum this year. And so we have completed our session today. And so we have 2 more sessions coming up. We have one on June 14th, where we'll be sharing the experiences of a youth children's group from Trinidad, that is YFAM. Many of you might be aware of them. And we have developed some really interesting and lovely children products with them recently. And we will be having with us Helen's Daughter, which is a women's organization, agriculture organization in St. Lucia. So we will be having the 2 of them presenting in our next session. And also some of the requests was to get some experience and some thoughts outside the region. And so what we will be having in our 3rd session on July 12th is the drone technology in building a sustainable and climate resilient agriculture. And we will have Rose from Africa presenting that. And we'll also be having some technologies and strategies for beekeepers to adapt to climate change and experience and a project that is being done in Belize. And so this is what we have coming up. And as I mentioned earlier, get your phones ready. And so the information will be shared via our Facebook and the Twitter pages. So for persons who have the QR codes on the phone, you could scan this and you will get access to both the Twitter and the Facebook. And so you can like and share it and follow us. And I will let me just paste it in the chat for easier access for some persons. Okay, so you can scan those. Let's make sure. And for persons who have not completed the form, please do so. Please complete the form. So this is where we come to the end, everyone, and I want to say special thanks to all of you for joining us today. It was indeed a pleasure having you again after last year, and of course we would have had some sessions in collaboration with the GCF project earlier this year, but this is our 3-part series where we provide you with the certificate of participation, and we do have a few other things in store for you, and we do look forward to having you at our next session next month. It will be exciting and entertaining as some interesting products will be shared from both YFARM and Helen's daughters. So again, I do wish everyone a lovely afternoon and a productive continuation of your week. Thank you very much.
Yes, thanks.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay, thank you. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your
Thanks
day.
for
Bye.
participating.
Yeah,
Have a good day.
bye-bye.
Thanks.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you. Take care. Bye.
Bye,
Thank
everybody.
you.